Every trainer needs to understand the anatomy of the client's hip to set up their optimal squat width and to understand why they're moving certain ways that may or may not be contributing to their back pain. So we start with the Hip Scour Test. You place the ankle into the armpit and that same hand supports the weight of the leg. And we try and get the hip musculature to relax, and we may just coach the client, just let me have it and relax. So you're feeling the shape of their particular hip socket or acetabulum. So this other hand simply, at a very light way, reveals and guides the motion of the femur scouring around the shape of the hip socket or the acetabulum. So in Kevin's case, you will see that if I just simply flex the hip with the knees together, that's about as far as he can go. If I push any more, the pelvis will then roll and flatten and pressure the spine. So he cannot deep squat with the knees together. But if we scour around a little bit, we'll find there's the depth of the squat right there. So his ideal squat foot position and knee position for depth of squat is actually quite wide. Is it that for everybody? No. So if we were looking to qualify someone as an Olympic lifter where the knees are together and the hands are contacted on the bar outside of the knees, you would want to see that knee go right up into that armpit. So Kevin is never going to be a world-class Olympic lifter. You probably knew that. But you may discover if the person should be more adept at a sumo style of deadlift, for example. The client might say that doing that causes pain. If they get pain in the inguinal crease, you're probably suspecting probably the labrum of the hip, and then you may wish just to give a little bit of internal and external rotation, which stresses the capsule, to see if that is indeed causing pain and causing them to move a certain way. So that is the Hip Scour Test to understand the optimal placement of the knees. Now we're going to add a bit more function to it by doing the pelvic rock test. So have the client on all fours. Again, we'll just teach them what full extension of the spine is, what full flexion. So we take them to full extension and just back off a little bit and cue a mild bracing pattern. We use stiffness, or the body uses stiffness to control motion. So we're just going to control motion, and I'll put the knees together in this first test, and the instruction is rock the buttocks back to the heels, and I'm just watching, and right there you start to see a collision of the femur with the hip socket, and the sacrum is breaking away, stressing the L5-S1 disc. You can see the sacrum breaking away just at the lower lumbar segment. So now go out to that optimal width that we suspect from the Hip Scour Test, and let's drop back into the hole. Beautiful, beautiful. Keep coming, beautiful. So look at the extra depth that we're getting just by optimally placing the hip. So if you had a need to deep squat, Kevin would be a much wider squatter. In a functional sense, if he was getting in and out of a low chair, he shouldn't have his knees together. He should have his knees wide apart. If indeed you are going to load the spine under heavy load. Just while we're here, I might just add this. A certain amount of motion is optimal for many backs. So now's the time to do the cat camel, or the angry cat and the, what was it? The angry cat and the happy cat. Don't push the end range of motion. It is the motion itself that is reducing the friction in the back. But as we've measured, this is the most conserving way to the spine to move it. Just to move it back and forth. There's no load on the spine. They're on all fours. It is the very best way to take the spine through the range of motion for those clients who say, I just want to move my back, etc.